Right, so Chelsea have responded to the back-to-back defeats to Manchester City. First of all, 1-0 in the Premier League, and then the absolute embarrassing performance yesterday in that 4-0 defeat by signing Joao Felix on a season-long loan till the end of the season, or what looks like we're going to be signing Joao Felix on loan till the end of the season, as per David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano in the last few hours. And yeah, it seems to be one that's really divided the Chelsea fan base in two sections so far, in terms of the anti-Joao Felix crowd and the pro-Joao Felix crowd until the end of the season. So yeah, I'm going to be giving you my opinions on this deal, and yeah, honestly, if I think it's a good deal or not for Chelsea. So let's get into it. So first of all, as I said, it's really divided the fan base and split them down the middle into two categories: the pro-Felix and the anti-Felix. And to be honest, I can kind of understand it. I can kind of a little bit see both parties, which is kind of a handy thing for my opinion on this. The pro-Felix ones are the ones that are looking at it from the perspective of he's low risk because we're only spending 11 million euros on a player who's very highly rated. Joao Felix, he's a very good young player. He's 23 years of age and has been highly rated for a long time now, hence why Atletico Madrid decided to spend over 100 million on him. And yeah, it is very low risk, because if he does turn out to be shit or doesn't work out, we just ship him back to Atletico, no questions asked and no problems whatsoever. And as well, if you look at it from the perspective of the glass being half full, he could be maybe us out in terms of getting goals and adding creativity to the final third for our attack, because let's be honest, we're absolutely shambolic going forward. We've got all creativity, we've got absolutely no goals. And then on the flip side, you've got the anti-Felix crew who are seen as a bit of a stopgap, a bit of a paper over cracks, a bit of a panic buy. And they'll also look at the fact as well that even though he cost Atletico Madrid 100 million euros, that it hasn't really paid dividends for Atletico, even though I'll cut him some slack in that one, because I personally believe, and a lot of people do believe, that he didn't fit into Simeone's style of football whatsoever. And then if you look at it from the glass half empty perspective, he could just be another one of these players that comes in, does nothing really, and we're still depressed for the second half of the season. But yeah, if you look at Joao Felix, and if you've ever watched him play, I mean, first of all, he's a great dribbler on his day. He's very techy, he's a tidy player, he's got elements of creativity in his game as well. We saw it at Benfica before he went to Atletico Madrid, and obviously Atletico are a team that don't really favour attacking players and techie players. And yeah, like I said, I do think that he'll fit into Graham Potter's style of play. I think he's probably the type of profile of player that Graham Potter would look for. The thing that's handy with Joao Felix is that he can play virtually anywhere in the front four. I mean, he could play behind the striker as kind of a shadow striker, even though I don't think he will, because I don't think that'll work with the fact that we'll mostly be playing with a false nine who is most likely going to be Havertz. I think he could get along well with Aubameyang, but I just think that we'd set Felix up to fail if we did play Aubameyang next to him, or in general, because Aubameyang just does not want to move whenever he steps onto the pitch for Chelsea. He could play in off the left, cutting on his right foot, and be a creative dribbler from that side, or equally on the right as well. But I personally believe he will play as a false nine and almost replace Havertz in that role, to be honest. And I think we'll play Mount behind him, probably someone like Pulisic on the left, Sterling on the right, or you have Ziyech there as well if he stays. And yeah, on paper doesn't look the best, but I do think Joao Felix would actually offer probably more than Kai Havertz would at this moment in time, because even though they're very similar players, I think Felix has got a fresh start. He's not got that, first of all, 72 million price tag, which isn't Havertz's fault, but it does play a factor in Havertz's form, in my opinion, and the pressure on him. And Felix, I'd say, is probably a little bit more mobile, a little bit quicker as well, so he might be able to get around more. The only thing that he doesn't have that Havertz has is the height and the body, really, to be able to cope with the demands of the Premier League in terms of the physicality, because obviously Havertz is like 6'2", 6'3", so he's got that build. Even though he's quite scrawny, he's still got the height to make it so that he's got that build to deal with that physicality. Joao Felix does seem like he has a little bit of a frail frame, which could be a detriment for him. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this one works out, because obviously Joao Felix on his day is a very, very good player and could be a very good player for us, but there is still that question that I alluded to before as well, whether he'll be able to adapt to the demands of the Premier League, both in a physical sense and also in terms of the intensity of the league, because it's so much more intense than La Liga. But yeah, I think this is one, to be honest, that either goes completely horrendously or just goes unbelievably and we sign him in the summer on the permanent deal, because I don't think there's any in between, to be honest. And that's why I'm more on the pro Felix side than I am the anti Felix, simply because, like I said at the start of the video, I think if it doesn't go right, we just give him back to Atletico Madrid. He's their problem then, I mean, what's the worst that can happen, really? I just think we've got more to gain from this signing than we have to lose from this signing, simply because of the fact, like I keep saying, that if he's poor, it doesn't really, it costs us 11 million euros, which in today's market is nothing really, and especially given the fact that 11 million euros could lead to us signing him permanently and having a potential very good player for the next 10 years. So I just think we have way more to gain from this loan signing than we do to lose, really. And to be honest, I definitely think it's a positive that he's willing to go to Chelsea, to be honest, and that he actually wants to come to Chelsea, as Fabrizio Romano has said that he's very interested in the move. I don't know what the Todd Bowley is saying to these guys and what project he's selling to them, it's just absolutely unbelievable, because even though we're 10th in the Premier League and probably in the worst run of form I think I've ever witnessed us in, and in the worst ever state I've ever witnessed us in, we've still convinced now Joao Felix to come into the club and Christopher Nkunku as well, albeit Nkunku was, before this horrendous run. But even still, I mean, how we're still, convincing these players to come to the club has got to be a positive, really. And as I said, I don't know what the Bowley's saying to them. But yeah, it should be an interesting one, and it's come completely out of nowhere. Whether it has anything to do with the result against City at the weekend, who knows? But to be honest, it's clear we need reinforcements going forward. As I said, we've got all creativity going forward. We've got absolutely nothing in the final third, and it was going to be one hell of a depressing season if we didn't sign a new attacker to at least give us that excitement as football fans again, because if nothing else, at least this Felix signing will give the fans a little bit of a boost and a little bit of hope as to someone who can come in and potentially fix our problems at last. And yeah, look, I won't lie, it does, kind of smell of desperation, especially after the result yesterday, but I am once again of the opinion that I think we have to back the guy. I don't think we can write him off before he's even kicked a football for the football club, and yeah, hopefully we can just, see the best of Joao Felix, get him back to his best form, and yeah, hopefully have a player beyond this season that can actually be a great player for us at the age of 23 and can, help out our, lack of creativity and lack of goals and, yeah, lack of creation in the final third. But yeah, Chelsea fans, non-Chelsea fans, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you on my side of the pro Felix crowd, or are you the opposite and think it's a bit of a stopgap and just a bit of a, cheap excuse to get the fans back on side? Let me know down in the comment section below, and yeah, leave a like if you did enjoy the video. It helps me out massively. It's so does subscribing as well. We are looking to hit 1,800 subscribers on this channel as soon as we possibly can, so yeah, any support is greatly appreciated as per usual. And yeah, I'll see you guys on my next video, and we'll see how Joao Felix does at Stamford Bridge.